Hello and welcome to Journeys in Transformation Analytics. I'm Amaresh Tripathy. I run the analytics business at Genpact, and with me today is Doug Hague, who is the executive director of the School of Data Science in the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. So, Doug, thank you for joining for this.
Thanks, Amaresh, for inviting me.
Well, so, Doug, we've been having interesting conversations around kind of what are you doing in the school as you're preparing for the talent of the future, and we talked a little bit about model risk and ethics. How's that playing out in the space and kind of also in the industry as well as in academia? But as you think about the data scientists of the future, right? What are the two or three things that you are focused on or the industry is focused on that we should all be worried about?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about ethics before, which is obviously one of the areas that is the key. But if you go beyond that, it's really the ability of our talent to learn. So how do they continuously learn through their career, right? We're teaching in Python now, right? We used to teach in R and we taught in SAS. We still use some of that in all of our classes, but how do we evolve and really teach our students to learn the next thing? And so not necessarily what programming language we're in, but the base statistics, they really haven't changed in a few hundred years. Although the top levels are in the neural networks and some of that. But how do you keep on top of the field? Because the field is changing really fast. It's being pushed by industry into new areas, and it's also being pushed by the universities. And where do we go and what do we do? And we're finding our areas that we are actually contributing, and they're different, and it's very interesting in that way.
And in terms of like just the whole notion of learning, that there's one of my clients in a conversation just told me, and he's an absolutely brilliant guy. He said, and we were just ruminating. I mean, he grew up in the data science world. Also, he said, where is all the analysis that we have lost in the name of analytics? And and part of it was in some ways it's become a very tech-led discussion and all. Do you see? I mean, in the school and everything that you're doing, and part of the thing you're saying is you also chose an example which is of kind of a learning new technology. But are there things that are being done to just broaden the whole art of inquiry? I would, if I
may say. So we are, and it's interesting about our school. Right, as we think about it, we have 19 different departments that are part of our school, 19 different fields. We talked a little bit about this. We're involved in so many different areas of research that it's evolving. And so it's not just about the technology. It's not just about the statistics and the mathematics. It's really about all the domains and how the domains are evolving and using all the information that's becoming available.
Got it. Do you in your just one question before I go to the future again? Do your the graduates of the program go and take up non-data science jobs? Like do they go and become like financial analysts, for instance, or do they go and become a marketing analyst? Does that happen a fair bit, or they are normally going into being a kind of a data science?
So it's a mix. If you think about data science programs, there's the hardcore computing and statistics programming. There's the marketing and pure that. We actually kind of fit in the middle. Mm-hmm. So we're not business analytics. We're not hardcore data. Most of at least our master's program today fits in the middle. And so we actually, all our students go to all of those fields. Some of them become marketing analysts. Some of them become financial analysts. Some of them become data scientists. And some of them are health analysts, right? And so it really depends on their passion, number one, and then the jobs that they would like to go into and who's paying, right? And so which companies are coming to campus to hire.
Just two-part question. One is, how do you actually see the employers and kind of, how do you see the industry competing for the talent in your school? Just give a little bit of flavor of that. And also, I think the second piece of it related to that is, you've been on both sides. What do you see as an effective partnering model between academia and the industry, especially in this area, which is still evolving?
Yeah, and so one of the things about getting the talent, there are a lot of companies just want to hire experienced talent, right? And so they're going to compete, and they're going to be, and the talent has gotten wise enough to know how to go to the highest bidder. Mm-hmm. Right, and so you're just going to be an auction for the talent if you're after the experienced talent. if you want to help start and grow talent, they're very good. Are they fully aware of every industry practice? No, right? They're students, they're coming out. But engaging them in internships is almost a critical aspect. If you're not engaging a student before they graduate, at least a year before they graduate, then you're going to be left with what's left over, because everybody, is often going to an internship and getting hired straight out of the internship. So if you're coming in late and saying, I don't want to have an internship program, then you're going to miss the market. And so as really the part, and it kind of goes to the second question, the partnerships often start with this talent partnership. How do we work that? A lot of our companies come in and give resume workshops so that the students begin to understand what they do as a business, but they're helping the students at the same time. Resume workshops, interview workshops, just interacting with the students. We have guest speakers, right, that are industry practitioners that are coming to tell the students the truth about how everything works in industry versus the academic view. And so all of those connections is where it starts. And then building into the research realm and understanding the problems and that the companies are going through and can the faculty help with the student is really, as the relationships mature, that's generally where it trends.
Got it. And related to that, or slightly separate actually, when you go and I see a lot of school, the academic programs take up the cause of data for social good or data for good, just the whole societal aspect of it. And a lot of corporations do the same, right? I mean, we support a lot of education programs around the world. We support a lot of all kinds of CSR activities, right? Somehow I don't see, and not across the board, I don't see both getting connected as effectively.
Right. And I would agree with that.
Why
they
is
haven't been connected.
why is that? I mean, because in some ways it's a natural connect, and what's your perspective on it?
Yeah, I think one of the ways where CSR started was more in the reporting realm, right? We're going to report and show the world how good we are. And there wasn't really a lot of analysis behind it other than gathering data for reporting. But now that you've gathered the data, the companies have that, looking at it and applying data science to it will help, improve that effort and continue improvement over time. I think one of the things that, being at a university side and looking at the social good, it's really the foundations and the nonprofits. We're working with a lot of foundations, with a lot of nonprofits in our Charlotte community, because that's where we live and work, and understanding economic mobility. The corporations are really participating through the foundations they donate to. So they're there, but they're not directly involved. I would like to get them more directly involved, and we're working towards that. But they're mostly, when they think about social good, they're thinking about, I'm going to give money to my foundation, and then the foundation is going to dole it out. And so we're competing with, when we go and say we want to do data science for social good, we're competing with the homeless shelter, and we're competing with the food banks as to where corporations are actually providing their corporate responsibility and donations to. And so it's an interesting dynamic. I'm not competing with other data science and other analysis projects. Right. I'm competing with homeless shelters.
Interesting.
And that makes an interesting dynamic when you go in and ask for funding to help support that kind of initiative.
That's very interesting. I have to ask you this. I mean, in your vantage point, where you are kind of in some ways looking at the future and trying to create the supply pool and the research for that matters, what are the 2 or 3 interesting things that folks like me and like folks in the industry should be keeping an eye out on?
Yeah, so I think we talked about one, which is model risk management, right? And so we'll set that one to the side. But yeah. I think the places that I'm watching is a lot of the computer vision and the voice pieces. So it's been evolving very quickly, I'd say, over the last 5 years, right? We're not quite to the place where it's fully embedded everywhere, but I think that is coming. And so the video capabilities and computer vision is how we term it. Yes. And the voice to text, and then the text analysis, and how you're interacting through things other than keyboards, is one of those areas that I'm following closely and think will be a great a great future. Of course, autonomous cars are wrapped right in both of those, right? So that's just one application of the fundamental technology underneath of computer vision and basically digitizing input and interaction with compute in ways that is natural for human beings. So this behavioral data science, how humans behave, we called it behavioral economics in the beginning. It's becoming behavioral data science now, and understanding how to nudge people,
right,
as well as the ethics of nudging people,
right.
are the areas that I'm paying a lot of attention to.
Lovely. Okay. Okay. The behavioral economics to behavioral data science. That's an interesting one. So, but I can see that because a lot of it is like large scale experiments online most of the time, right?
Right.
So, Doc, no, thank you so much. I mean, it's always so much fun talking to you, and just getting a different perspective normally from what we get from our guests here is very refreshing. But thank you so much for coming and sharing some of the insights.
I appreciate the opportunity, Amaresh. Thank you.